Welcome to another session of math problem solving. So I have a very simple problem today. So you have this figure, arrowhead-like figure, and there's one angle that's marked X. Your job is to find X. This is typically a simple problem in an Olympiad level exam. How do you solve this? How do you go about doing it? You could pause the video here, take up to 5 minutes to see if you can solve it. If you can get it, fantastic. But my focus here is not just the answer, but the process involved. Okay, so let's try and do it in a traditional way. Then I'll tell you how you could do it faster and even faster and be able to do it probably at light speed. So the first thing is to be able to see it from different perspectives. The first perspective that I'm talking about is that ABCD is actually a quadrilateral. The sum of the angles of a quadrilateral, even if it's a convex one, would be 360 degrees, right? So that's the perspective. We know that A plus B plus C plus D, the four angles that's marked here, is 360. So 70 plus 20 plus 30 plus C is 360, which means C is 360 minus 120 and C is 240. That gives me one perspective of things. But that still doesn't give me X because this perspective is limited only to finding C but not X. So what do? We get into another perspective. Another perspective is to say, if I were to take point C, it's divided into two angles. The obtuse internal angle, rather the obtuse external angle, which is X, and the reflexive internal angle, which is C. The sum of which is 360 degrees because the angle around a point is 360 degrees. This is a completely different perspective. So now that I know that C plus X is 360, I know that C is 240, and I know that X is 120. This is another way to solve it. But a quicker way, another method of doing it much faster, would involve not even calculating C, because in the first method, you specifically calculated C from two different perspectives, connected the dots, and therefore you want the value of X. But you could just say C plus three angles, internal angles put together without doing any calculation is 360. C plus X is also 360, and therefore I don't even have to worry about C. I don't even have to calculate C. I can just say that X is equal to the three angles, which means X is equal to 120. This is a faster way. It skips a step and it moves directly into what is needed without having to figure this out. And this is a very important mathematical problem solving technique where everything need not be explicit. You could just move the blocks around and still be able to get the answer because you're focusing on what is needed. You can jump a few steps, get to the answer without having to know every single part that kind of gets you to find the answer. Like in this case, you don't need the value of angle C to find the value of X. But what could be even faster than that? Now, I'm sure that every one of you would have studied in geometry that the external angle to a particular vertex in a triangle is the sum of the two internal angles. So A plus B is equal to X. Exterior angle is equal to sum of the interior angle. This is a theorem that many of us would have studied in geometry. But now can you see that that exact paradigm of an external angle equal to the sum of the internal angle also applies here? Which means without having to worry about connecting the dots, I could jump in directly and say X has to be the sum of the three angles, which is 30 plus 20 plus 70, which is 120, and therefore I can get the answer. So when I have to find X, and I'm really good at identifying the very top level pattern, that X is an exterior angle, the sum of the interior angles should be equal to X, therefore X is 120, makes it extremely fast for me. So what are the lessons to learn here? There are always principles behind calculations. Calculations are based on principles. So instead of blindly doing it like an operator who just follows the rules, plugs in the formulas, gets the answers, and completes the calculation, try sometimes and ask what's the principle involved. Like in this problem, the principle involved is that the exterior angle is equal to sum of the interior angles. And that could save you a lot of time and effort. Perspectives matter. The whole idea, even if you could not see the principle, the perspective that one is the angles of a quadrilateral and the other is the angle prescribed by a point, looking at it in two different perspectives and connecting the dots is what will help you solve the problem. So I hope you found this process of problem solving useful, and I hope you can apply this in the Olympiad problem that you'll be trying to solve. And if you like the video, share it with your friends. Click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so that I can see you in the next video. Thank you so much.